if you take a seat, we'd like to go ahead and call our work session to order. First is the Municipal Services Committee, Chairman Ed Long.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Ed. What this is our, when you say milestone, it's basically our agreement with First Connect to partner with them on our broadband. This agreement lays out what our responsibilities are, what their responsibilities are, and the fees we will be getting each month per location, and how our arrangement works together. So I have Brian here as well that was in all the negotiations with me, as well as Ben Hooper. He's a little under the weather this morning or this evening, and he's on Zoom. He's here as well. So if anyone has any questions about this agreement, please fire away.
Anybody on the committee got any questions for the mayor?
Ben, do you want to add anything?
No, sir. I don't think we need to add anything. The council has actually already authorized an agreement with Connected First. This is us, or this is the city being kind of transparent with the council because they have seen it so many times, letting everybody know exactly the details so the council can see all the details and know exactly what's going on.
Yes, sir. So as he said, these are all the details.
Any questions? I need a motion then to send this to council for action.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion and a second. Tammy, would you please?
Long,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes?
Red,
Yes.
Cope.
Yes.
Mayor, that concludes mine. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next up, Budget and Personnel, Chairman Matt Weber.
Thank you, Mayor. I've got some comments to make, but I didn't know if you wanted to open by presenting the proposed budget, or how
Sure.
would you like to go first?
Okay,
You
what
and
this
Tammy?
is, by law, by December 1st, which I already gave it to you guys on December 1st, I got to present the council with the operating budget for the next year for the city of Cabot. And basically what it is, it summates on your last 2 pages, I think you received in your packet, showing that our budget for 2023 would be a $23,936,782 budget as presented. It shows no increase in general government revenues. It has an estimate of where we are. The general government revenues is basically what we've collected this year, with no increases set into the number. The rest of the departments are based on kind of what we did last year as well, unless we knew something was going to be different, like the internet revenue, which I budgeted $420,000 for that. Transfers in franchise fees that we get, in our use available funds, that to balance the budget, that was the $880,000 we brought over from prior year profits that are used as matches on all the grant projects. Some of the grant projects. So as you know, in this budget we have raises to all the employees of 6% or $2,000, kind of what we've done in the past with the or 2,000. Last year I believe it was 5.9%. We did 6% this year. In each department, as you could see in the notes that we provided you, kind of shows the amount of equipment or what their needs may be, so you could see kind of why the number was higher or lower than it was from years previous. That pretty much kind of details it out. I'll let you ask away.
So we received 3 copies of the proposed budget, and I'd prefer to use the one that came in our work session packet, which shows the comparison to the 2022 budget. So based off of, and I think I had a consensus that we run this basically the same as we did the last couple of years, with each director will have an opportunity to speak to his or her proposed budget. And if you don't wish to make a comment, I would ask that you make yourself available for any questions that the council or the public might have. I did list these alphabetically, A to Z, but I would welcome a first come, first serve. Whoever might want to go first, we can take them in whatever order anyone would like to come up and speak. So if you've got a pressing engagement after here that you need to get to, if you want to go first.
Look at Roger.
Roger's out of the gate.
Which compared?
Mine's pretty short and sweet as always, usually at the tail end anyway, so I figured I'd get mine out of the way. I actually don't have a great deal of changes going into next year. We had a couple of things that rolled into next year because they were unable to get done this year because of a lot of vendors being held back with equipment and everything. But those numbers will stay the same. The only addition I had for this coming year is all of my copiers are coming end of lease, and I'm going to be refreshing the lease on our copiers across the board, which we have quite a few now, 13 or so. That's really the only changes. So if you guys had any specific questions for me, you can let me know.
Any questions from the committee of two? Any questions for Roger from the council? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Looks like Mr. Wheeler's making his way.
I have three budgets here to look at real quick. Shouldn't take long. We pretty much budgeted flat on the animal services. We're going to look at that first. The only thing of note here, we have two carryovers from 2022 that we didn't buy in 2022 budget. That was our kennels and a vehicle for an officer. Vehicles weren't available for purchase, and the kennels, we're packaging that with the CAS building so that we get a bigger discount on those kennels. Other than that, we just have small increases for supply increases.
I apologize, everyone. That agenda that I handed out, the little numbers that are after each department refers to the page. Even though they don't have page numbers on it, I went through and numbered the pages, so that'll give you a quick reference. So animal services would be on page 12.
Anybody have any questions on animal services?
Brandon?
Okay.
Council? Thank you, sir. Next.
Construction administration. Not much change here. The only thing we have is under vehicle expense. That did increase this year, but that's only because we're looking for a used vehicle through the federal surplus. So I have 10,000 in that block. Everything else has pretty much stayed the same. A little increased in gas costs. Imagine that.
I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
On salaries, we went up $35,000. Is that additional personnel, or is that just increases?
We had no additional personnel. We did last year, or this year, we lost some employees, and we had to increase prices wages at that time in order to get qualified employees.
And we had that grant.
Yep.
We got that one.
Yep.
In '22, we had $117,000 budgeted for salaries. Thus far this year, we've spent $87,000, but you budgeted $153,000. That's $35,000 more than last year's.
Oh, we did two part-time. And I apologize, that's my mistake. We did put in here for two part-time for maintenance of buildings. Sorry, thank you for
Hey,
that.
council, if you would, you can ask the directors, I don't care.
Right.
But Matthew will know exactly everything
Yeah.
in the HR budget. He's finishing up benefits at City Hall. I just left there. So he's meeting with people, but he's going to come over.
Yeah.
So he'll have those answers if you want to ask again.
Sorry
Okay.
about that. I forgot about part-time people. Yeah.
All right. Number 3?
3 would be the Peak Center. And about the only difference there you'll see is food cost.
Any questions for Mr. Wheeler on the Peak Center?
We are hiring, just so y'all are aware, we are hiring someone to help out in the kitchen there. We're serving, Thanksgiving, we served 82 people on Thanksgiving Day. So the one person who's cooking and cleaning for those 82 people, she's getting tired. So we're offering her some help.
Any other questions from the council? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Chief Moore?
How are y'all tonight? So the fire department's budget is fairly similar to what it was last year with a couple of exceptions. I had some big hitters, one being central generator repair, which is something that's needed done over the last probably 3 years back when it was under warranty. We found out over this last year that it's going to be about $10,500 for them to just come look at it, get in it, and see what else needs repaired. I'm not a mechanic, but there's some sort of head crack in it. That makes sense to anybody that is. No, not good. And then replacing some expired fire hose. We've got some 3-inch lines that are older than most of our firefighters that we have here, and they've just run their life. So, and then on radio expense, there's a grant that the state has put out that's going to be a 75-25, where the state will pay 75%, and then we're responsible for 25% if we do get it. So I'm in preparation for that. Our portion would be about $50-something thousand to replace some of our A-Win radios that are exceeding their life capacity. Any questions on anything else?
Brandon? Council? So at our last meeting, I made a comment about discussing any potential changes, increases, or decreases, and I didn't get any kind of a reaction from the crowd. I would like to say there are some decreases in here. So
Minor as they may be.
they're minor, but they are decreases. So I would like to add that a few of the departments actually made the comments in here. Those helped tremendously. So thank you, police, fire, and whoever else may have made comments. Thank you.
You bet. Anything to help.
Any questions, council? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you for your consideration.
As with Chad's, mine's pretty similar to what it was last year. Tried to lay all the notes out on there for you to go ahead and review, but a couple of things that kind of stand out. Our narcotics office and professional standards office in the old bank building, most of those offices have not been renovated since that building was built in the 70s. Now that our PD construction is wrapping up, I've set aside a little bit of money to try to renovate that area over there just to give it a little bit of a facelift. 5 vehicles included in there, one of those being a K-9 vehicle. If the position is approved, we're adding a new K-9 officer for next year. That will include the vehicle. Matthew will have all the payroll side of that, and then the purchase of the K-9 was a little bit further down into the K-9 expense. Equipment expense, we've got several projects that carried over from this year that we're still waiting. We've had several items ordered since January and February. and we're looking at them to come in probably March or April. But we're adding a lot of equipment to our narcotics division as well as to our SORT team, just equipment that has not been replaced over the years that's starting to reach its end of life. Again, the K-9 expenditure for the purchase of the new dog and the training. And vehicle equipment, what was a standard $15,000 upfit on a new patrol vehicle is now rounding about $40,000. Once you include the computers, the new dash cams, radars, and just the normal inflation cost right now, those have jumped almost to $40,000 of upfitting cost on every new vehicle we have. But with that, anybody have any questions?
All right, thank you, Chief.
Good evening, all. The budget for economic development remains pretty much the same. There was just some housekeeping issues that were put into place because of the legislation that you guys passed through this past year.
I'm not sure if we should wait for Matthew on this. I was looking at the salary reimbursement and ARPA funds. Can you explain that, or?
The salary reimbursement was to reimburse Alicia's salary from the general fund back into the Economic Development Fund, as we discussed at council, because that's where it should have been taken out of. And then the APRA funds is $130,000 we put into economic development funds to be used for any economic development projects this year.
Thank you, sir. Any questions from council? All right, moving right along. Thank you, Ms. Alicia.
Good evening, council.
Good evening, Paul.
Couple of items about the street department budget. You'll notice in the comments, water truck and generator. Our water truck at street department is a 1970 model Chevrolet, a hand-me-down from many, many years ago from the fire department. And it's in slightly poor condition. And we have been needing a generator at the street shop for as long as I've been there. I remember the blizzard of 2012, that Christmas blizzard. We were without power for virtually a week, and all our shop doors are electrically operated. Didn't have anywhere for the equipment to get thawed out or the guys to get thawed out. And so those two things may stick out to you. Other than that, if you have any questions, I'm here to answer.
Paul, can you explain to me on the street improvement line? We started out, looks like $150,000. We're on track for $57,000, and we're budgeting $50,000 next year for street improvements.
That would be me. We're using the bond money for a lot of those. That's why we don't have to use the general fund right now.
Right.
I thought the bond money was supposed to be like a booster shot to help get the roads.
We're too busy spending that money to be spending the general fund money, so it's saved up for this equipment we're buying. We're using this extra money to buy these water truck and other things like that he needs.
I'm just not too sure if that's going to go over good with the citizen of Cabot, because roads are the #1 issue in this town.
Well, yeah, Brandon, we're fixing roads right now. So if you want me to hire 15 more people to do more street projects, and then we'll up that salary and retirements and benefits and health up, and we can fix some roads.
I would be all for that.
Any other questions?
So I had a question about this streetscape Phase 3, and where is that going to take place? What section of road is that going to be?
That's from 10th on to the overpass.
Right.
And then I did have another question, and I'm not sure if this would be for Paul or Mike or both. The 3 vehicles to the traffic department. I don't know if Paul wants to talk about the traffic management section or if delegate that to Mike Reynolds, how we want to do that.
Yeah, Mike Reynolds for traffic.
Should just be delegation of assets and separating street and traffic. Obviously, we have 2 separate budgets. We're trying to get everything sorted at this moment, so that would
That's the only reason I was asking, just for clarity.
Any other questions for me?
So as long as Mike's up there, so the line item in your proposed budget on traffic signal maintenance and improvements, we're going from 26,700 to 75,000. Can you shed some light on that?
with every passing year, all this equipment that was already aging prior to the signal upgrades project that took place, it's just getting antiqued. We have equipment out there with basically watch batteries, but the batteries are dying. When you get to that kind of age where 20 years plus, the technology has well surpassed where that was at the time. And I'm talking about controllers, conflict monitors, the basic brains at the intersection need upgrading, and we're talking about $3,000 to $4,000 a pop. We did 10 intersections, and of those, I believe we only had 4 of the controllers replaced. So when they started cutting for the upgrades, that was some of the cuts that they made at that time, and we've got to try to get back where we should be. So I hope that explains it.
Kind of, sort of.
Okay.
From my grasp of traffic management, so.
Right.
Yeah. Council, any other questions? Haven't heard anything from Mr. Red. Any questions, Stephen?
No, sir, I'm good as of right now.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Hello, Miss Laura.
Hello, sir. Okay, as far as Public Works goes, there is under expenses, I did ask for capital expenditures to be added back into it. I do have some vehicles that are running on their last leg, and I will need to purchase a vehicle to either replace one of those, if not, just add to the inventory that I have, because I do have a space in code enforcement for another position that I've been trying to fill for a little while as well. So that's the major increase in my office.
So that was for one vehicle?
Correct.
Okay.
Other than that, I didn't have much of an increase in expenses. On the revenue side, we are projecting to keep on rolling the way that we have been. So we'll answer any questions if you have any.
Council? I did notice the increase in your proposed inspections, so that's, I guess, because things are really getting busy.
Extremely.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you. All right, I guess we've run the gambit of everyone in the audience that is here, so we can start going down the list. So if Mr. Hooper is still on Zoom, if he would like to speak to anything in his proposed budget for City Attorney's
Yes,
Office.
sir. Yes, sir, I'm here, and I'm happy to speak to anything the council would like me to. Just going through it, it is fairly similar to last year's. You will notice a couple of items that we were over. Those are the items that we don't have a lot of control over. The legal publications, that is all the newspaper notifications and everything for all the legislation and all the planning commission stuff. And it's a big number, but that's good. That means that we had a busy year. We did a lot of resolutions, we did a lot of ordinances. Planning commission was very busy, so that's why that number is the way it is. And then professional services, that reflects municipal league payments is why that was over for defense fund. Other than that, it's fairly similar to last year, but I'm happy to answer any questions that I can.
Council, any questions for the city attorney? I've heard no and shaking heads, Ben, so I guess you're done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Do you want me to do courts? It's pretty much flat. As you see here, we've got an increase in revenues, a little bit in courts, and then everything else is pretty much flat. And we did work with the courts on that. And I'm not aware of anything they didn't get that they needed to conduct business in 2023.
Ms. Tammy, would you like to go next? City Clerk Treasurer?
So the budget for my office is basically for the salaries and wages and benefits. I do have a office supply line item that I continue to ask for to make some changes at City Hall. We started with desks last year, and little by little, we're trying to get things all the same and new for the first time in the 22 years that I've been there. 23, I would like to add file cabinets and tables to match what we've done we were able to do this year.
I can testify for Miss Tammy that when you go into her office, she does have stacks and stacks of stuff. It would be nice to be able to put that stuff into a nice filing system. Not that I'm saying that it's out of order. It's just any questions from council? I'm sorry, Mayor. Do you have something?
If you do.
Oh, okay. Council, any questions for Ms. Tammy? Hearing none. Mayor?
Mine kind of resembles Tammy in the fact that most of my budget is retirement and payroll, and Matthew did just make it back, so he can speak to that after I'm done. But other than that, everything else pretty much is flat from 2022. We might have budgeted a little high in 22, and so we reduced it to 23. So the biggest increase was including Alicia under my budget and the raise and the retirement and all that other stuff that Matthew can speak to when he gets up. They had other questions for other departments. So I'm setting the stage for you, buddy. Okay.
Any questions from council?
So on this, Mayor, on this line item that's on the workman's comp, is that just adding up, going down the list? Does that number get bigger?
Workman's comp.
Workman's comp, yeah. So like on yours, it shows,
You mean for $151? $476?
for 731,894.
I don't have that number that big. On the
That's just in the
comments.
comments section, so I don't know if that's adding it, accumulative going
I
down.
guess we're
or-
looking at, I have like 10 different spreadsheet views of the budget because we get pretty down and deep with it. So the one that Matthew said he was, which one are you looking at? Oh, that's just a proofing summation total of the line next to it down, like an Excel proofing number.
I'm with you, okay,
Yeah, it didn't mean anything. I'm sorry.
yeah.
So that increase in the salaries and wages from the 408 to the 554, that's including
Alicia.
moving Alicia underneath?
Yes. Alicia, and then a full year Brian Burrows. Last year, remember, it was just a snippet, just a small amount, because he started towards the end of the year. And an IT generalist for Roger, another person under Roger, which I believe he spoke about when he was up here. And that would be the 3 additionals from 22 to 23. And I think you have a spreadsheet that kind of shows the increase there.
Any other questions from council?
I have one quick one. Mayor, clarified in my head, your office covers whose salaries? Alicia's, Rogers?
Matthews, Brian Burrows, Rogers person, Alicia's, and Cletus.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Anyone? All right. Do we want to discuss anything concerning?
Matt,
Yeah.
excuse me just a second.
Yes.
I want to go back to those salaries just a second. I know it wasn't too many years ago till the council asked for Roger's salary to be brought over and put under the mayor's office and everything like that. I understand it. I understand exactly what you're doing. Administrative is under administrative, and that's the mayor's office under that. You think maybe this coming year you may want to look at breaking some of those out and putting them somewhere else to keep yours from looking? I mean, I'm not trying to say that. I'm saying that it could be taken and read wrong if it's not understood. I mean, everything there is essential, but I don't know how many people would think that IT is under you, that you're paying that IT salary through your office. I have no objections to it, none whatsoever.
Well,
I understand it, and I know the council, when was it, Tammy? 3, 4, 5 years ago, something like that, said, why don't we put that over there because it looks so much easier and nicer. And now that we got the growth in it and it's not looking so easy.
I mean, really, the only people that should be in their mind would be me and my executive secretary.
I agree.
That still helps other
I
directors.
absolutely agree, and
So-
that's the point I'm going at, because you've added 2 more administrative that really not under your office, you're just paying them. You super everybody that's in the city, but you know what I'm saying on that. I'm wondering, and I don't know. That's something to be looked at, I think. I think I would like for it to be looked at.
I think Tammy and I could come up with something. Okay. We'll reflect it in the 23. Okay.
I don't think it needs to do any changes now. I think leave everything the way that it is, but I think we need to look at it, and that way I think it would be easier for the council to know where the balance is and everything like that. I mean, look at yours, it's $500,000 worth of salaries. My Lord, mayor's office got $500,000 worth of salaries. Yeah, but look, I'm also covering IT, I'm covering special projects, I'm covering community development.
And HR.
See, yeah,
For the whole city.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
All right.
we'll fix it.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, in your defense, though, I mean, I don't have a copy for the 2023. I've got a copy for 2022, the breakdown for salaries on your office and who all is included in it. So if someone had a question concerning
Oh, yeah, you can.
the salaries,
Oh, yeah.
this would explain it totally.
Yes, sir.
And that might solve the problem 100%, just have a breakdown of the salaries underneath the offices and go from there. It could very well, do that.
We keep that year round. Matthew constantly updates it. And of course, Tammy does as well, but.
Anything else? Okay. I don't know if we want to go discuss anything about city council, salaries, benefits, or insurance, I should say, sorry. No benefits.
Yeah, it's a 6% raise and everything else is pretty flat, just like most of the departments that doesn't have large capital expenditures. City council, that's pretty much what it is.
The largest expenditure city council has had under the past years, but I think you've been pulling that out of community development, is CDI. Where do we stand on that? We got a lot of folks that are about to go through year 3, aren't we?
Corey, who's out in the audience, he's going to take year 1. Matt Weber's going to take year 3. James and I are graduated. Brandon is going to take year 2. Maggie, year 1 maybe? Year 1. And Ron, you went, didn't you, Ron? Yeah. So he already did, he's graduated.
Good,
So
good,
in red,
good.
you're
That's-
graduated.
That's fantastic. Thank you. That was just
So most of the council has went,
Yeah.
we're going to graduate.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
That is super.
Anything on city properties that we need to discuss?
I did have one question on utilities. We doubled in the cost of utilities for city properties.
Yeah. Yeah, they went up, fuels went up, everything's up.
I do appreciate the breakdown on the building and grounds improvements, lining that out onto the specific structures.
And in 2023, we're going to push to have that done in-house, all of our mowing, weed eating again, and we budgeted in there salaries and wages for part-time mowing people for the street department. Some sort of city internship for the kids to get them some sort of certificate. They helped out in public service and had a job, kind of like what you have at the state government, and give them something to put on their resume and fulfill maybe some hours and give them some money.
Any other questions on that? If not, I'd like to go to next, general government, page 5, which I did see on regional pathway, the city's portion of that.
150?
Yes, sir.
Yep. We're going to be trying for a $3 million grant. I put that we'd get $750 this year because I would feel like that would be our reimbursement that we receive back. But we're going to try in the spring to get $3 million from Metro Plan. But we won't get it until we spend money. But that's what our trail is going to cost, is $3 to $4 million.
Well, you won't get it unless you ask for it, so.
Oh, we're asking for it.
Yeah. Any other questions concerning general government? All right, I'm going to flip over to general fund revenues, page 2. I know the mayor already spoke briefly about the broadband revenues, and then I just said something about regional pathway, so I don't know if there's anything else to discuss on that page. Any questions on that? I'll take that as a no. How about grants, capital improvements? Any questions on that, or if the mayor or clerk want to expand on that?
I'm trying to get to where you're at. Sorry, I'm getting there. Like I said, mine looks a little different. Revenues. What's that under? Did you say? Or what page? Oh, okay.
17 on the one that I'm looking at.
Grants, capital improvements, ARPA funds, we're transferring out. You did legislation that we were going to work with the Cabot Water and Wastewater, and $3.8 million is what is left on that legislation. Same way with the 523 that was still left on that legislation. Isn't that right, Tammy, the 523? Yes. So basically to CWW, $4.3 million. The 570 is the EDA grant that we received for $2 million to do the infrastructure out at exit 21 for Unity Hospital. And then the 130 is what we talked about earlier.
Any questions, council, on those figures? All right, so I guess if I would like to hear from Mr. Hood at this time, if he would be willing to come forward and answer any questions on salaries.
All right. Yes. So I keep hearing the word salary and benefits. So two biggest things that I have obviously are the salary and benefits. Benefit-wise, health insurance was something all you guys are aware of. We had a little bit of a change. I think the change was for the good. We are still with the Arkansas Municipal League, but some of the material I gave you guys, we received a 10% increase. Last year, we were going to get another 10% increase this year, and we estimated that to be roughly $115,000. And from our projections, it was looking like we were going to get those 10% increases for the next 3, 4, maybe even 5 years. And obviously, we realized, we didn't want to do that. And that's really not our fault, the employee's fault. It's just we were on one of these really I don't want to say outdated, but old plans from the Municipal League with a very low deductible, very low cost, which is great, but obviously this plan hasn't changed much in 20 years, and most cities like us are losing anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million a year, and obviously that's not sustainable. So we've been working hard since early this year, and we were able to get the Municipal League to let us pilot a program, which you've all got the material about, and the prices, and the mayor and the city clerk were generous enough to say, as we move towards a high deductible plan and another plan, that the money saved from that plan through premiums could be reinvested back to the employees in those HSAs, which is really how you make those plans work and benefit the employees. So health insurance wise, instead of getting a $115,000 increase, we had a 0% increase, and we were able to provide the employees with 2 different plans to choose from. And on the budget, we're used to, it would say health insurance, which included health, dental, and vision. We broke that down now to where it says health, the extra dental, extra vision, and then the HSA contribution beside it. Now, obviously, open enrollment's this week, so we are on the HSA contributions. We're just assuming that's what people take. Obviously, if they take the other plan, you'll see those savings there next year when we know exactly what people are going to take. But we had our first day today, did about, between us and Parks and Rec, there's about 180 people. So we did about 40 people today, 30 minutes apiece. Everything went really good. Saved a lot of people some money on some plans. So. And we're excited. When some of the other cities found out what the city of Cabot was doing, they tried jumping on it as soon as they found out, but the league told them no, just Cabot this year. So we feel like we're going in the right place, and that's where the benefits and the health go there. Salary-wise, the last few years, especially since Ken has came into office, we've really made a point to try to compete not only with other cities in the public field, but also with the private industry. And as we have all these meetings, and we believe we talked last time about how hard it is to find employees, it's really tough. So we wanted to not only increase salaries, but we really worked on doing the bottom line, because 4, 5, 6, 10% sounds great, but when you're only making $25,000 or $30,000, that really doesn't move the needle as much. So last year we did, the COLA was 5.9%. So last year we did the 5.9% or $2,000, which is ever more. This year we just made that an even 6% or $2,000, whichever is more. Obviously the national COLA was 8.7%. You know, we'd love to match that, but obviously that's a lot of money. So we landed on that 6% or $2,000, and you can see that in there. And again, as we look to compete, we're always looking at police and fire. And as we advertise here shortly for police, it won't put us exactly at 40,000, but it almost puts us at 40,000, which is a big difference from when I got here and we were hiring at 26, 27,000, which just seems crazy to think about. So that's where we're at on those salaries. Again, you can see the positions added throughout the budget. There's a few things this year we're going to try to do in-house, see how it works, see if it saves us any money. If it doesn't, we'll reevaluate and go back to third party. We talked about getting Roger some help with IT. We're working on something right now with Parks and Rec for HR. One more position in fire was added, and then one more position in police, which was for the use of K-9 officer, which obviously can definitely help the city out. And you can see all those in there. Before I got city council, I sent everyone that rate sheet, like Matt requested, kind of give you a good number on how we contribute to the health, dental, and vision plans, especially in comparison to 2022. And then we printed this off for you because this is really tough to read on a tablet. So
I just want to say thank you, because this is much more thorough than last year's. Last year's was great, but this is tremendous. Thank you.
It was exactly the same as last year. It was the exact, I'll take the compliment, but it was I'm pretty sure it was the exact same sheet, but thank you. I'll take it. So, do what? Yeah, yeah, anytime. But, and as you can see there, looking at all these numbers, I color code. Yellow's just new positions, blue's vacant. And so that's everything I got. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Again, sorry I was late, but we had open enrollment each day this week from 8 to 7 something, so that's why I was a little late. So
maybe it was the pretty colors that got me.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
No, definitely. Like I said, this is just really tough to read. And honestly, it might have just been not printing it out, because looking at that on the tablet, it's even on the computer, the desktop, it's tough to read. So.
Any questions for Mr. Hood? Mr. Red?
I do not, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you guys.
Mayor, do you want to speak to anything on the public safety and equipment or the special revenues, you or Ms. Tammy?
I'm going to give that to Miss Tammy. That's something we don't mess with much. She can kind of go through it. It's kind of nothing out of the ordinary, but would you, please?
Sure. The special revenue funds, basically, we're asking to budget for the amount of money that is in that account right now, plus any funds projected for '23, and that allows us to spend it as directed already. Those funds are restricted by council already, and that's, public safety is for public safety, so if something comes up and we need to do that, you've already defined that account, and if we can budget the amount available, it just makes things easier throughout the year to be able to spend those funds, since you've already had a say in how those funds will be expended. As a special revenue fund, they're already defined. So we're just asking to be able to spend the funds that are available for that year. Like Act 833 for the fire department, that's defined by that act.
Yeah, these are what you call fence revenue accounts, so they can only be spent as of what the law says they're to be spent for, just like bond funds, kind of.
Thank you, Ms. Tammy. Thank you, Mayor. Any questions from the council?
I do have one question.
Okay.
On the summary sheet for 2023, I pulled last year's summary sheet so I could kind of compare the two. And the only difference that I saw that on grants and capital improvements, we had $2,700,000. And this year, we don't have any.
We're not expecting any more APRA funds.
Okay. APRA.
That's where she put APRA last year. So the other grants are under other lines that you saw in there, in the different fund accounts. So
Okay.
street fund, or this was outside the line that didn't fall into a specific category. So Tammy put it on there separately.
All in all, we went from $21 million to $23,900,000. So basically about a 3% difference. That's with the salary increases that we've seen. That's almost a flat budget.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Mr. Young, do you want to speak? Yes? Or no? Or?
I don't think he has anything in here, do you?
No, but you guys start asking us for money, though.
No, we're always appreciative to the, the transfer that we do get every month. And so other than that, but, Parks and Rec, we're going to face some of the same problems. And as we depend on A&P and things, just, that utilities, Mr. Reed, you mentioned that. And that's probably been one of the biggest hits that we've taken all year this year is the utility costs. Of course, that's across the country right now. So.
I just added you on here because last year you wanted to speak, so I just...
Well, last year I was asking for a lot of money, but y'all told me no, so I kept going.
He got a bond issue, so he didn't need it now.
Yeah, so. But I will have, and of course, Parks and Rec, we always have to wait on the city, and then we wait on A&P before we can actually do ours. So we're hopefully going to squeeze it in before, but usually ours is not done until January.
Yeah, usually A&P is the end of the month, right? Or
Yeah,
close to
and their meeting, I actually double-checked that today. It is the 21st. The Parks and Rec meeting did move to the 13th. So.
Okay.
Any questions for Travis?
Thank
Okay,
you.
go away. And I know Mr. Burrows is operating on other funds other than what we're talking to this evening, but I didn't know if Mr. Burrows wanted to say anything about...
All we have right now is we've signed the Napolz contract for the sports facility. We've had some bids come in for CAS, and they weren't good. They were way high. We've got the playground installed behind City Hall. We'll work on a pavilion concept to bring to you next time, hopefully on the 19th. And still working on fire and police training facility. And we've done almost $3 million worth of overlays, street overlays. So we've got a lot of happy taxpayers out there, Brandon. $3 million. It's going to spend another $7 million. I don't have to put that in there. I would have. That's what I was trying to get to. We're all going to spend millions and millions of dollars on street projects, but we don't have to put it in here because it's bond money per law. So we've got a lot of happy people doing a lot of drainage projects, and Alicia's been updating our bond site, and I'll get with her to make sure it's updated and have her send out an email to y'all so you can see what it has been completed.
Thank you, Mr. Burrows.
Brian, you got anything to add? Go ahead.
Whatever you can do to get construction costs to come down we'd be very grateful. Thank you. That's all I got.
See what we can do.
Yeah, thank you.
I think we need to pray. I think we need to pray.
We need to pray.
I think God's the only one going to bring those down.
Yeah, exactly. No, we're facing what everybody else is facing. We are up against a wall, trying to get projects performed in the budgets we have out in today's market is very difficult. So that's a daily battle. I wish we had more to share because we'd like to move that ball down the court a little faster, but it's very tricky. Very, very tricky. Very discouraging. So thank you. I do appreciate it.
Thank you again, Mr. Burrows. Any other questions, discussion on this proposed budget? I would like to thank all of the directors who were able to be here this evening and those that joined us via Zoom. Thank you for the questions that you answered, clarifying any points that the council had. Any other comments? All right, so I am open to a motion if the committee would like to send this to full council.
I make the motion.
I have a motion, so I guess I'll second. Tammy, would you call the vote, please?
Weber,
Yes.
Hillenberg,
Yes.
All right, thank you again, everyone. As far as I know, Mayor, that concludes the Budget Committee meeting.
Okay, thank you, sir. Police and Fire Chairman, James Reed.
Thank you, Mayor. We don't have anything on the agenda. I would like to mention that the firemen will be at the intersections with the boot, and which Saturday is that?
17th.
December 17th, so look for them there.
Community Development Committee, Chairman Ed Long.
I hope in about 15 minutes we have something that is worthy of a press release.
Yes, sir. Military Affairs Committee. Okay. General Community Input. I think we've about heard from everyone but Corey tonight. Doesn't mean you have to talk. There you go. Remember January 1st, 2 o'clock, right? January 1st, 2 o'clock, swearing in day, right? Okay. And then anyone? Directors? Council? See none? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor say aye.
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 Adjourned at 7:29. Do we want to take a quick break for the council meeting or keep going? We're going to take a quick break. 5 minutes. See you soon. 4, 5, you ready? Okay. Okay, it's 7:33. We're going to call the council meeting to order. We're going to start off by opening prayer by Matt Weber, and then the Pledge of Allegiance by Maggie Cope, since Stephen's Zoom. Is that okay, Stephen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Maggie, you okay? Okay.
Please bow with me. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day that we had. We love the liquid sunshine and the many wonderful blessings that you provide every day. Give us the knowledge and wisdom that we seek as we make important decisions for our community. I pray that we never forget that we are here to serve the people of our city. Father, as we approach the upcoming celebration of the birth of your Son who came to save his people, please help us all to pause from the chaos of the season and to remember the true meaning of Christmas. Please continue to watch over and protect our military and our first responders from harm's way as they serve to protect all of us. Thank you for your never-ending grace, and please forgive me when I fail you. I ask all these things in your Son's holy and precious name. Amen.
Amen. We shall be known of America, for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Tammy, could you give us a roll call, please?
Long,
Here.
Red,
Here.
Hillenberg,
Here.
Cope,
Here.
Reed,
Here.
Weber,
Here.
Waymack.
7 present, 0 absent. Next items, read ordinances and resolutions by title only. Do I have any action?
I'll make a
Make-
motion that we read ordinances by title only.
Second.
Got a motion from James, a second from Maggie, to read ordinances and resolutions by title only. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Long,
Yes.
Red,
Yes.
Hillenberg,
Yes.
Cope,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Waymack.
Passes 7-0. Next item, city council old business. Council, I'm showing no business. Does anyone have any old business? Seeing none. Stephen, do you have any old business?
No, sir.
Okay. Next item, city council new business. I have 2 items down. First is item A. Please, Tammy.
Resolution number 62 of 2022, a resolution to adopt the annual operating budget for calendar year 2023 and for other purposes.
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 62 of 2022.
I'll second.
I got a motion from Matt Weber, a second from James Reed, to adopt resolution number 62 of 2022. Any discussion? Any from the audience? Seeing none, all in favor, roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Weber,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Cope,
Yes.
Hillenberg,
Yes.
Red,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Waymack.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Next item is item B. Tammy, please.
Resolution number 63 of 2022, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk treasurer to enter into an agreement with Connect to First Internet LLC for the acquisition, construction, operation, and equipping of a fiber optic broadband network and related services, approving the terms of said agreement and for other purposes.
Mayor, I
Make a
make a
motion.
motion that we adopt Resolution 63 of 2022.
Second.
I got a motion from Ed, a second from Brandon, to adopt resolution number 63 of 2022. Any discussions, council? Seeing none, anybody in the audience? Seeing none, all in favor, roll call vote, please, Tammy.
Reed,
Yes.
Cope,
Yes.
Hillenberg,
Yes.
Red,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Waymack,
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Any other new business, council? Seeing none, community input. At this time, if you'd like to come to the mic and talk to the council and the mayor, please state your name and if you live in Cabot. Seeing no one, I just wanted to point out what Ed said there before we adjourned from our last meeting, is this resolution number 63 of 2022 is huge. We're the first and only city in the state of Arkansas to do this. This is groundbreaking legislation, and what we're doing here in Cabot is providing a great service to our citizens, and we're providing public welfare to them to be able to obtain internet, hopefully at a low cost for some of them. There's different plans there's going to have on it, and it's going to make Cabot a sought-after city to be in. Not only that, it will provide the city a revenue stream for years and years to come that is not based on tax revenues. So most cities don't have things like this except for a water department. And so this is pretty cool. So this is something that we should all be thankful for, and that we all should applaud each of ourselves, because all of us in this room had something to do with this. And I want to thank everyone for all your help on this and us getting this done, because this is big. As Brandon stated about roads and streets, I mean, this is extra money to do that for. Economic development, the sky's going to be the limit what we can do with this extra money that we're going to have coming in our city. So we're projecting by December of 2023 to have about 2,000 customers, which a little bit more than that gets us close to $1 million a year in revenues. So that's pretty awesome for our city of our size, which if you look at our budget of $24 million, 1.2 million is, 5% of our budget. That's pretty awesome of things we can do for our citizens. So with that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Mayor, one more thing
Go
along
ahead.
those lines, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
We also need to remember and thank our state senator and our representative.
Of course.
They believed in us whenever we went to them with the idea. This just didn't happen. This required legislation in Little Rock to make this happen. They believed in us. They took it. They took it to their colleagues down there, and here we are. Here we are today.
And there was not one disapproval vote.
Not one.
It passed unanimous.
And, that says a lot for Cabot. It says a lot for our ideas, but it says a lot for the support that we've got, too.
I agree. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
A motion for Brandon, second for Maggie. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Adjourned, 7:41. Ben, I hope you feel better, buddy.
Thanks.